Hurst from Hamilton County Schools. I am going to work with you guys today on the rest of the last dog, so that's paragraphs 48 through the end. And we're gonna look at how the conflict in the story helps develop Brock's character. So I want you to start by doing a contiguous read of paragraphs 48 through the end. I want you to notice how the setting has changed. I want you to annotate how Brock changes. I want you to connect with things that might be holding you back. And I want you to respond by summarizing the text. I'm going to say that again. Notice how the setting has changed. Annotate how Brock changes. Connect with things that might be holding us back and respond by summarizing the text. Hopefully you have taken the time to read paragraphs 48 through the end. What we're going to do now is we're going to determine what the text says, how the text says it, and then what it means. So in terms of what the text says, the only word or words that I think that you would have trouble with in this section is the word Homo sapiens, which is on page 192. It says what he needed was a disease that might affect Homo sapiens as well as Canis familiaris. We already know that Canis familiaris is the scientific name for a dog. Homo sapiens is the scientific name for humans. The next thing I want us to look at is paragraph 70, which is on page 191. My first question is, what do you notice about Brock's feelings in paragraph 70? Okay, so then what does this scene tell you about Brock's internal conflict? So internal is what's going on inside of him. So we already yesterday talked about how he is lonely. He's feeling isolated, and he has felt guilty for wanting to leave the dome. So what of those internal conflicts is being addressed in this scene, and how is it being addressed? Okay, so the most obvious idea here is that Brock has kind of gained a connection with Brog at this point, but I want to think a little bit more deeply about this scene. So how does this relate to his conflict about feeling guilty for wanting to leave the dome? All right, let's look at page 193 now, paragraphs 82 through 90. How is the plot developed in these paragraphs 82 through 90? And how did the author heighten the tension or this idea that there might be a conflict? It hasn't happened yet. How does the author heighten that tension in those paragraphs? All right, and then what is this scene, these 8 paragraphs? What does it tell you about Brock? All right, here's our last question, the one that I want you to use evidence from the text and write a well-formed paragraph. How did Brock's internal conflict cause him to change? All right, once you have done that, you are good. Have a wonderful